Have you ever wondered why calling a React state setter multiple times doesn't always produce the result you expect? In this video, we'll visualize how React state snapshots, closures, batching, and functional updates work together to explain why. Our counter component contains 3 identical state updates inside a single click handler. At first, it seems obvious that clicking the button should increase the count by 3, but React only updates the value to 1. To understand why, we need to follow exactly what React does behind the scenes. Every time React renders a component, it creates a snapshot of its state. Think of it like taking a photograph. During this render, the value of count is 0, and that value stays fixed for the entire render. Nothing that happens later in the event handler changes this snapshot. For render number 1, every reference to count will always read 0. When the component renders, the click handler is created. That function forms a JavaScript closure around the variables from that render. The closure remembers the snapshot where count equals 0. Even after the user clicks the button, every reference to count inside that handler still reads 0. The closure has captured the snapshot from render number 1. Now the first highlighted state update executes. React reads the current snapshot value of count, which is 0. It calculates the next value as 1 and places an update into React's internal queue. Notice that the local variable count is still 0. React schedules an update, but it does not immediately change the current render. The second state update runs next. It reads the same snapshot where count is still 0. So React queues another update that also says, replace the state with 1. The third update does exactly the same thing. Now React has 3 queued updates, but every one of them contains the exact same value. After the click handler finishes, React processes the queued updates. The first update replaces the state with 1. The second update also replaces the state with 1. The third update does the same. Since every queued update contains the same value, the final result is still 1. React batches these updates together and performs only a single re-render. Now let's compare update styles. With direct updates, every state update reads from the closure snapshot captured during render. Since the snapshot never changes, all 3 updates produce exactly the same value. Each update simply says, replace the state with 1. This is why the final result is only 1. Now switch to functional updates. Instead of supplying a fixed replacement value, each update supplies React with an instruction. Each updater receives the latest queued value and returns the next one. Notice how the update queue changes. The first updater produces 1. The second builds on that and produces 2. The third builds again and produces 3. React processes functional updaters one after another. The first updater receives 0 and returns 1. The second updater receives 1 and returns 2. The third updater receives 2 and returns 3. Each updater builds on the result of the previous updater instead of reading from the original render snapshot. That's why functional updates avoid stale state. React now performs a second render using the final queued result. This time, the snapshot contains count equals 3. The component displays the correct value because each functional updater built on the latest state instead of the stale closure. The key takeaway is simple. React state is a snapshot captured during render. Closures preserve that snapshot. Direct updates reuse the same snapshot value, while functional updates chain together using React's internal queue. Understanding this behavior makes one of React's most confusing concepts much easier to reason about. Want to go beyond this video? Runtime Visuals gives you interactive simulations, step-by-step explanations, and a complete learning path designed to build real understanding. Subscribe and join the full course below.